For some one, and I'm back this time with some news that recently came out. So, CBS announced that they're doing a new Star Trek TV series. I'm excited, but first, I want to say I'm not going to be talking about the distribution. I don't like how they're doing it. I'm just not going to talk about it. There will be an article below, but I do want to get into the show. And first, I want to get into the statement that they said that kind of gives us an idea what the show might be about. It's very, very basic, but let me get into it. The new Star Trek TV series will introduce new characters seeking imaginary new world and new civilizations while exploring the dramatic composition themes that have been a signature of the franchise since its incarnation in 1966. So that's a very rough idea. It's not giving us a lot, but it does give us some clues of what the series might be. Now, first, I want to say what I don't want the series to be. I don't want the series to be in the same thing as the 2009 movie. In the future or the past, I don't want it to be there. I want it to be in the reality or the dimension or whatever you want to call it that was from the next generation. That still exists. That's still around. They're still doing things there. Nothing other than the video game that came out, the MMO, has actually dealt with that. And the video game is fun. It's a really good game, and it does do a lot of the things I want them to do, but that's not canon. The only canon sources are the movies for this and the TV series. So I want them to do more canon stuff in Next Generation, but I want them to go to the next level of Next Generation. And so what I want personally is to set the show about 30 to 50 years, which if we go 30 years, it would be the 25th century, the really beginning, because Next Generation at ends at the year 2370. So that would be 24 exactly. And that would be and I want it to be the next Enterprise. I want this to be the continuing adventures of the Enterprise because that's what Star Trek TV shows almost always are. We've had 5 shows and 3 of them have been the Enterprise. The other ones came out around the time where there was already a show or the show was just ending and so wanted to do something a little different. But Voyager, if you didn't know, was originally going to be the Enterprise anyways. So Deep Space Nine is the only show that was never ever going to be the Enterprise because the Enterprise was already there. They already had Next Generation going at the same time, because they didn't want another show about the Enterprise. But then when Voyager ended, they did the show Enterprise, which was the past. Now I want them to finally go into the future, go into the next thing. What is this next thing you can do? And that's mainly what I want them to do. That's mainly where I want them to go. Now, could it be 100, 200 years? Absolutely. And we could see the Enterprise J. We've seen a concept of it in that show, but to be fair, I think they're going to leave a lot out of Enterprise because Enterprise was, I believe, the most disliked show out of all of them. And if you're a big fan of Enterprise, if that's your favorite Star Trek TV show, great. It's not a bad show. It's just, I think, the weakest of all the shows, in my opinion. And a lot of people say that about Voyager, that Voyager is one of the weaker shows. And that's fine. I personally am a big fan of Voyager. It's one of my favorite shows. But if you think that's one of the weakest or even the weakest, that's fine. But Next Generation is hailed as one of the best. It's either Next Generation or TOS that most people say is the best show out there. And those shows are about the same concept. It's about the continuing adventures of the Enterprise and its crew. I want a new captain, a new crew. One of the things I'd like to see in the show is to have most of the bridge crew members be aliens. Now, of course, we're going to have one human character, and it's probably going to be the captain because we need a character that you the audience can relate to, and it can be any bridge crew member or any member of the main cast. So it could be the doctor, it could be the chief engineer, it could be the chief security officer, but I think it would be the captain just because that would make sense. But then I want all the other ones to be aliens because I think that would make sense, and I think that would be cool and fun to see different types of aliens. An Andorian, of course. A Vulcan would be awesome. But then another thing I want them to do is very much like how TOS to Next Generation, we had the Klingons kind of change, and now they're allies. They're not part of the Federation, but in this series, I want them to be part of the Federation. But that's not what I'm talking about necessarily. What I want them to do is the same thing with the Romulans. The last time we've seen the Romulan homeworld was destroyed. It was utterly destroyed in the 2009 movie. And yes, as most of that I don't want them to touch on, the beginning part or the flashback part where we actually get to see Romulan destroyed and what they were trying to accomplish there, that stuff I do want them to tack on. That stuff I do want them to deal with. And that would be great and wonderful. But now I want to see the Romulans start that same kind of journey into being part of Federation. And obviously, the Bajorans should be part of the Federation. We can get a Bajoran member. So there are going to be people that look human like, but I want them to have very few human. Very much like how TOS had a lot of ethnicities, a lot of groups that it was doing. I want them to do the same thing, but with different aliens. I think that's fun. I think that would be cool. And even if they don't want to go with the common ones, there are a lot. Other than Romulans, you can explore and you can do different things. And if you want to, I don't think you could get this actress, but if you could get the actress who played Seven of Nine back, that would be kind of cool to have a Borg on it, even though she's at this point probably very human. So that's where I want them to explore. Those are ideas that I want them to go. And that's what I hope they do in this new series. So please tell me what you want them to do. Tell me what do you want the '09 reality or do you want the TOS reality? Do you want it to be future or past? Do you want it to be about a crew that's not the Enterprise or do you want it to be about the Enterprise? Like there's so many ways they could go and I would like your thoughts. What would you want? So this was Goku for some one and I'll see you next time. YouTube.